The fate of 1,250 UIL Texas high school football teams hangs in the balance. From the Birdville Fine Arts and Athletic Complex in North Richland Hills, Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to present the 2026 UIL Realignment Special presented by Hometown Ticketing. Good morning, everybody. I'm Greg Tepper, Editor-in-Chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. So grateful that you would spend your coffee, sip some coffee with us, alongside Matt Stepp of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, our high school football insider. And Matt Stepp, we are 15 minutes away from one of the most important moments of the season.
Yeah, it's not hyperbole to say this is among the most important, maybe the most important event on the Texas high school athletics calendar. It only happens every 2 years, and I tell people this all the time. It is the only event that impacts every single school in the state of Texas. Every school is impacted in some way by UIL realignment. Basically, every coach in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is behind us. We have head coaches from West Texas, Central Texas, and East Texas here. This is the place to be in basically the northern part of the state. And in 15 minutes or so, the path to the state championships for the next 2 years will begin to get laid out.
So this may be your first UIL realignment, in which case we would say welcome. Welcome to the party. Let's explain what UIL realignment actually is. This is the biennial redrawing of the districts for the UIL. This is every 2 years. The UIL asks teams to turn in their enrollment numbers, and from there, they are sorted by enrollment into 6 classifications. Class 6A is the largest schools, Class 1A the smallest schools, and then 5A and 1A are then subdivided into Division 1 and Division 2. So there's districts 1 through 32 in 6A, and there's districts 1 through 16 in each division of 5A. At that point then comes the messy part, and kind of the reason that we're here, because the districts are going to get drawn by geography, and there are multiple ways to slice that pie.
Yeah, you got to factor in opt-ups and those types of things that can really kind of skew the landscape of Texas high school football and the districts going forward. But you're right. You know if you're in KDISD, for example, you're going to be with the other KDISD schools. Now, what you don't know is what your district number is going to be. That could determine your playoff path. But if you're a school like, let's take your alma mater, for instance, Coppell.
Cowboy Fight Never Dies.
They are a one-school ISD smack dab in the middle of the Metroplex. They could literally go north, south, east, or west. So Antonio Wiley is here. He really has no idea where he's going to get placed because he's in a one-school ISD in a major metro area. So depending on where you're located and what size your school district is, you could have a really good idea of where you're going, and you could also have no freaking clue.
And the other thing that I think is important, because one of the things we're going to talk a lot about is regions, okay? And this is one of the things that I think when you dive kind of a little more than surface level into high school football, you start to realize how much this is important. This is the playoff bracket, okay? Mm-hmm. And so in Class 6A, if you are in districts 1 through 8, you are in Region 1, 9 through 16, Region 2, Region 3, and Region 4, etc. And so you may look at this and say, oh, well, what's the difference between 16 and 17? Basically everything.
Massive difference. You had a great analogy. It's like taking the Dallas Cowboys and moving them from the NFC to the AFC when you go from Region 2 to Region 3. So Region 1 and Region 2, they're going to pair off in the semifinals, Region 3 and Region 4. So let's take a team like Carthage. Mm-hmm. There have been years in 4A Division 2 where Carthage was in Region 3, and there have been years where Carthage was in Region 2, like the past 2 realignments. That's why in 2020, we had a Carthage-Gilmer state championship game, 2 schools not that far apart from each other because Carthage flipped over into District 9 and went Region 3.
And here's what it looks like in 5A through 1A with the split divisions, obviously with fewer districts, but the same thing applies. So what we're paying attention to is not just which teams are in each district, but which district, who's in each district number, because that is going to be absolutely critical to determining what your playoff path is. And I think there's people who are wondering, like, why are all these coaches here? There's a couple of reasons. One, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to all get together.
Let's all hang out.
Secondly, the other thing that I think is really interesting is these guys are going to be trying to do district meetings, right? They're going to be trying to.
They're going to draw numbers to the order of what weeks you play which opponents. You're going to draw. You're going to figure out your bye week. If it's an 8-team district, do we want to have a bye week 4 or week 6? But you're going to draw your order of numbering. So what weeks you're going to play which district opponents.
And what's interesting is that we'll also talk about non-district games here in a moment. here's things we already know. We actually know a fair amount about what we're to expect. For example, we know which teams are going to be in each classification, for the most part. There's a couple of mysteries out there. But
there are. Big
name mysteries. October, back on Halloween, the UIL released the enrollment numbers. So every team in the state has to turn in an enrollment number to the UIL. Then, smack in the middle of state championship games, I think it was the Wednesday of state championships, they released the class cutoff numbers.
What a UIL news dump that was.
And so,
come on, guys.
And so we know that if you have an enrollment of, let's just say, 900, then you will be a 4A Division I team. We know that. We know that you can expect to, when the UIL updates their website, which is what we're all waiting for here, and when the packet gets released, you will look for your team in 4A Division I. And so there is a lot that we know, and that is something that has been relatively new to the UIL over the course of their realignment history.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started covering UIL realignment, you came in here on realignment day, and you had no idea. You didn't know what classification you were going to be in, what division you were going to be in, anything. The UIL's been a little more transparent with releasing that information early because it helps with kind of aligning your non-district schedule. If you know you're going to be a 5A Division I team, then you can technically schedule all 5A Division II teams in non-district and know you're not going to be scrambling for games at the last minute. So it's helped the coaches out a lot by releasing that information early to at least know what division or classification you're going to be in, because you don't want to schedule someone in non-district that you could play in district play, and then you're left scrambling on the big board here trying to find a week 3 or week 4 game.
Because that's one of the things that we're keeping an eye on as well, is the number of teams in each district. Okay, so if you're in a 7-team district, you know you have 6 district games, which means you got to find 4 non-district games.
Correct.
And so what you're going to end up seeing is some coaches have got some handshake agreements already, say, hey, we'll play you in week 1, week 2, etc. You're going to have some team guys who are going to be unexpectedly put in a smaller district, and they're going to be scrambling for an extra game.
Yes, yeah, if you're anticipating being in a 7 or an 8 and you don't have a week 4 or week 5 lined up, you're going to be running around here like a madman trying to get those games filled. And then you have the potential, we've talked about it in West Texas in District 2 6A, where there's a decent chance we have a 5-team district in Class 6A. Talking to Clint Hartman, talking to Jeff Ellison at Permian, Clint Hartman at Midland Lee, those guys are going to have the unenviable task, potentially, of trying to find 6 non-district games being a Class 6A school, and it's going to be really tough.
We're counting you down to the top of the hour when the UIL will release the 2026-2027 UIL realignment, in which we will find out where every team in the state is going to be placed. Greg Tepper, Matt Stepp with you, bringing you up to the top of the hour for instant analysis of what we will see in the UIL realignment. So we mentioned that we know which teams are going to be in which classification. That means that we know which teams are moving up and which teams are moving down. And there is a lot of notable movement in classifications.
With the 6A cutoff number dropping by as much as it did, 60 students basically, it has really kind of jumbled up the classifications. You have, I think, this realignment in particular, more big name movement between classifications that we've seen in quite some time. It's really going to be fascinating.
And so here are some notable teams that are moving down. DeSoto, the defending 6A Division II state champs, turned in a 5A number. Now, that comes with a small asterisk. We do not have that. In the past, they've turned in a 5A number and opted up. We have heard sources that have told us that they are going to stay in 5A.
Yes.
We won't know until it gets released at 9 o'clock.
Won't know 100% sure. Do you want me to shoot my shot here?
Sure.
I'm going to call my shot. I'm going to say my sources have strongly indicated to me DeSoto will be Class 5A. Okay. And here's the reason why. The other thing you got to think about, DeSoto has a tentative non-district agreement with Duncanville week 3. So
that would
DeSoto
be
and
notable.
Duncanville playing week 3. Why would DeSoto schedule a week 3 game against Duncanville unless they were fairly confident they were going to be 5A? Because you would think if they were 6A, they would be in the same district.
Sherlock Stepp over here.
Yeah.
Wolfworth Friendship out there in the Lubbock area dropping to 5A, thanks in large part to opening another school.
Correct.
Friendship Memorial.
Yes.
New Braunfels is dropping 5A Division I to 5A Division II.
Another new school, Long Creek opening up.
El Paso Andrus is dropping to 4A, which you think about El Paso, and honestly, I can tell you in conversations with the UIL, El Paso is where everything starts, obviously, because it's always District 1. That's a spoiler alert.
Yes.
But because of dropping to 4A Division I, that does reshuffle everything for them. I do think this year that makes things a little bit easier.
One thing to watch in El Paso in Class 4A is in the past few realignments, all of the Division II enrollment schools have opted up to Division One. Now there's enough El Paso schools at the 4A level where you can have an El Paso Division II district and an El Paso Division I district. Andrus dropping down will add to that. So what you're going to have is El Paso is going to have their own district in 4A Division II, 4A Division I, and 5A Division II. The real question mark in El Paso is in 5A Division I, where you only have 2 schools that actually have a 5A Division I enrollment, Andrus and Americas and El Dorado. However, we do feel like there's going to be 3 or 4 El Paso 5A Division II schools opt up into Division I to give El Paso their own 5A Division I district.
Corpus Christi Miller dropping down to 4A Division I. Brownwood dropping to 4A Division II. Sinton is going to move down to 3A, as is Lorena. Two teams from different parts of the state, but couldn't play a factor in what this UIL realignment looks like. Jefferson out east dropping down to 3A Division II. Brady out west is a team we've got a close eye on because they could go a variety of different places.
Brady is literally in the geographic center of the state of Texas. They're the biggest town, clearly in the geographic middle of the state. They could go any number of directions. The Brady Bulldogs, by nature, a big country team, but I could see Brady shift south into Region 4 into a more San Antonio Hill Country area district.
Stinnett, West Texas, state semifinalist from a year ago, dropping down to 2A Division II. Very interesting there. And Crawford in Central Texas dropping to 2A Division II as well. But there are a good number of teams moving up as well. Let's take a look at some of the notable teams that are on their way up in classification this year. Aledo, the longtime 5A powerhouse, will finally make the leap to 6A, and one of the questions we have is where do they land in 6A?
Yeah, there's a chance they go west. I would say in my mock realignments, I had them west, but that's mainly because I do the mock realignments as if I was doing them.
Right.
I think the smart money for Aledo is they're going to be in District 3 6A, is my guess, with Weatherford, Granbury, Crowley, North Crowley, Boswell, Haltom, and maybe one other school. I think that's where the smart money goes if you're Aledo.
Prosper Walnut Grove making the rare double jump from 5A Division II all the way up to 6A.
A lot of growth.
The growth in Prosper. San Antonio Piper moving up to 6A. Richmond Randall, state runner-up a year ago, moving up to 5A Division I. Melissa, a team that's no stranger to the big stage, moving up to 5A Division I as well. Salina, 2024 state champion, moving from 4A Division I up to 5A Division II. Midland Greenwood, coming off one of their best seasons in program history, moving up to 4A Division I. Hitchcock, moving up to 4A as well. A lot of growth down there in that part of the world. 2 big-time 3A.
3A is going to have a lot of madness.
Wall and Gunner, teams that have won the last 4 state championships in 3A Division II, moving up to 3A Division I. Where will they settle? That is a huge question there. Hamilton, the reigning 2A Division I state champs, moving up to 3A Division II.
Yep.
And finally, Munster.
Another state champion.
You count the state champions here.
Yeah.
And teams that have at least recently won state championships.
Another one we didn't talk. Iowa Colony is also moving from 5A Division II to 5A Division I. That powerhouse, a lot of powerhouse action in Houston in 5A Division I.
It is getting wild in here. We are moments away. You can see less than 2 minutes away from the release of the UIL
anymore.
Yeah, we don't have to yell. Somebody's talking. There's one other thing I want to make sure we get to. Their 2026-27 alignment. I want to talk. You talked about it. One of the questions that I have: do they pull a team from the DFW Metroplex?
Yes.
Do they pull teams out there? What happens to them? Speaking of the Rio Grande Valley, they had 2 6A districts last year. I want to know if they're going to lump in Laredo. I think that's a big question here. Are they going to lump
That's what I had in my mock realignment. I had 2 8-team districts in the Rio Grande Valley. Last time the UIL kind of threw a curveball with a 6 and a 5 in the Rio Grande Valley. PSJ North, another notable, moving up from 5A Division I to 6A. So that's going to mean 12 Rio Grande Valley schools in 6A. So do you do 2 6-team districts, or do you throw the 4 Laredo schools in and have 2 8-team districts to make 16 schools?
Who switches sides of the bracket? We talked about this. Watch for changes between Region 2 and Region 3. Claude Mathis from the DeSoto Eagles crashing the party.
Right here.
Don't worry. We got you a little bit later.
We're going to have Coach Mathis on here in a little while and get his instant reaction.
Get his instant reaction. Watch teams that move from District 2 or Region 2 to Region 3. That's flipping sides of the bracket. And then the other thing I want to see is going to be, where do the recent state champs win it? We mentioned it. DeSoto, Randall, Salina, Gunner, Hamilton, Munster, Shiner, Jayton in the 6-man ranks,
Yeah.
all changing classifications. Where will they land? How will that shape realignment? Matt Stepp, we are moments away. We will have instant reaction coming for you live here in the final moments as we await the UIL, and it appears that the UIL has released
They're on the website.
alignments. We have breaking news. The University Interscholastic League has released the alignments for the 2026 and 2027 Texas high school football seasons. Let's dive in and get into the big headlines for each classification. We start in Class 6A, where team district in District Odessa, Permian, Midland, Lee, Midland, and San Angelo Central. Aledo lands with Arlington ISD in District 3-6A.
Big win for Aledo there. Tepper, my immediate reaction right now, go to 11-6A, Crowley and North Crowley in Region 2. We are going to have North Crowley and Duncanville playing a district football game. Whoa.
Plano ISD has split again from Allen. They will land with Richardson ISD and Coppell in District 7. You mentioned District 11. They lose DeSoto, but they gain North Crowley and Mansfield ISD, flipping over to Region 2 with Duncanville and Waxahachie in District 11-6A. Cy Fair.
Big changes in Cy Fair.
Cy Falls and Cy Fair flip to District 16. They flip sides of the bracket. Meanwhile, Cy Ranch and Bridgeland move to District 23 with Fulshire. So some big changes in Cy Fair ISD. A total makeover in the capital city. Leander ISD has moved to District 24. That's right, Vandegrift is in Region 3.
Austin in Region 3 in Houston.
Austin in Region 3 in District 24. Lake Travis and Westlake are with Round Rock ISD in District 25, splitting off from Dripping Springs and Austin ISD. Dripping Springs and Austin ISD move over to District 26. And the Laredo schools in Del Rio join with South District 30. Matt Stepp, initial 6A reaction.
That we have an Austin area district in Region 3.
Yeah.
That I did not anticipate that. ISD Hutto in Region 3 and 6A. That's shocking. 216 districts, one. North Shore's in District 17, but they keep North Shore and Humble ISD, North Shore, C.E. King, and Humble ISD stay together in that kind of eastern edge Houston district. But, man, this is a really unique, and there are a lot of surprises here just looking at Class 6A.
District 27 6A, or 17 6A rather, is where you will find the new District of Doom there, so to speak, with North Shore and Atascocita and all them. Let's move to Class 5A. Get to the headlines in Class 5A, where you will find, in Class 5A, Abilene goes west with Amarillo and Lubbock in
Not
District
a huge
2
surprise
5A,
there.
Division 1. DeSoto, Lancaster, and Cedar Hill will land with the Mansfield ISD and Midlothian in District 8 5A, Division 1. Lufkin stays south, joining LaPorte and Port Arthur Memorial in District 9 5A, Division 1. Richmond, Randall, and Iowa Colony will get Angleton, Friendswood, and Pasadena ISD in District 11 5A, Division 1. Georgetown flips to Region 3, joining College Station ISD, Pflugerville ISD, and Killeen ISD in District 12.
Yeah. So Georgetown was in Region 2 and District 8. They moved to Region 3, District 12. You've got a real powerful district there. District 9, LaPorte and Lufkin joining Port Arthur Memorial in District 9. That's a power-packed district. Houston ISD has their own district. That District 11 is loaded with Iowa Colony, Angleton, and Randall. Victoria East moving from Region 4 to Region 3 into the Houston area. I thought that might be coming. Here's DeSoto.
Yeah.
They are in District 8, so the DFW Metroplex, as I predicted, DeSoto in District 8 with Lancaster, Mansfield Legacy, Mansfield Summit, and Cedar Hill. Big win for Mesquite ISD going into District 7 with Tyler and Crandall. That's going to be good news for like Raphael Thomas there at Mesquite High and new head coach Jeremy Williams at West Mesquite.
How about the Austin and San Antonio crossover in District 13 5A, Division 1? Smithson Valley reigning two-time defending state champs Bernie Champion joining with Austin Anderson and Manor Meanwhile, in 5A Division 2, Salina, Frisco, Panther Creek, and Prosper Richland will join Anna in a high-powered 4-5A Division 2. Terrell goes east to join Texas High, Marshall, and Nacogdoches in
Greenville
District 6,
also goes
5A
east.
Division
I kind
2.
of thought Terrell and Greenville might go east. We got it. They're in District 6. We got an 8-team district there.
The headline from last time has been reversed. Port Neches, Groves, and Nederland back in Region 3, flipping with the old District 8, Waco and Brenham back in Region 2.
That makes much more geographic sense to me to have the Central Texas district in Region 2 matching up against that southern DFW district with the Mansfield Schools, Corsicana, and Ennis.
Meanwhile, Liberty Hill moves to Region 4, joining Alamo Heights and Bernie in a high-powered District 13 5A Division 2.
And New Braunfels, they're in District 13, so you're going to have Liberty Hill and New Braunfels and Bernie in a district matchup at Alamo. That is a loaded district in Region 4 in District 13. Laredo Figueroa drops down into Division 2, so you got two far South Texas districts. Gregory Portland and Corpus Christi Ray from the Corpus Christi area will travel down to the Rio Grande Valley there and play in District 15.
Of course, you can go to the UIL website to find all of the UIL realignment right now. Class 4A, let's get to some headlines in Class 4A where there's a major regional shakeup in Division 1. Stephenville's in Region 3 in District 12.
Wow.
Kilgore moves to Region 2. Alvarado, Springtown, and Decatur join together in Region 1 in District 4A Division 1. It is a regional makeover in Division 1.
Yeah, Stephenville and Kilgore basically switched. Kilgore was in Region 2, Kilgore was in Region 3, Stephenville was in Region 1, the two teams that played in the state championship. Kilgore flips to 2. Did not have Stephenville in Region 3. A bit of a surprise there. We could have Stephenville and Bay City in the first round of the playoffs. That's big. I go to West Texas. We've got a 4-team district in District 3. Be very interested to see what Andrews, Midland, Greenwood, Plainview, and Lakeview do. Do they play double round robin, or do they go and try to find 7 non-district games? Dallas ISD gets their own district in District 6. Fort Worth ISD basically has their own district in District 5, except they also have Kennedale in that district as well. Houston ISD, very interesting here. They did not opt up their schools.
No, they didn't.
From Division 2 to Division 1. So you have Houston ISD in 4A Division 1, and you also have Houston ISD teams in 4A Division 2.
How about this? Stephenville will be with Lampasas and China Spring in 12 4A Division 2 or Division 1. Carthage has joined Pleasant Grove, Gilmer, and Pittsburgh in an East Texas District of Doom in District 8 4A Division 2. Get your popcorn ready for that one. Athens, Van, and Canton all flip sides of the bracket, meeting in District 9 4A Division 2. La Vega is on the move again, back in Region 4 with Robinson, Brownwood, and Waco Connolly in that kind of Central Texas Big Country District 13 4A Division 2.
Kind of thought Brownwood might go to Region 4. I thought Glen Rose might join them. However, Glen Rose goes into District 5 with a new school, Hampton Uplift Pref, playing UIL football. It's only a 5-team district, so Glen Rose is going to have to try to find 6 non-district games.
Meanwhile, Cuero gets a new look district with Bandera and Geronimo Navarro in 15 4A Division 2. I would say the headlines there is obviously the regional changes there in D1.
Yeah, they shook it up. Yeah.
Big moves. Meanwhile, let's move to Class 3A, get you up to speed on UIL realignment. Division 2 state champ Wall lands in District 3 3A Division 1 with former Region 4 standout Llano and Ingram Moore.
Wow, Llano and Ashley Pickles, Llano Yellow Jackets moved from Region 4 to Region 1. Big news there in a 5-team district. I'm looking at this. Edna flips from Region 4 to Region 3. So the two teams that have dominated Region 4 are all of a sudden out of there. And now Region 4 kind of opens up here for Sinton a little bit. Sinton is in District 15. They won the region last year in 4A Division 2.
I'll tell you another team it opens up for is Yoakum. The defending state champs flipped to Region 4 to join Marion and Universal City Randolph in 13 3A Division 1. Sinton lands in District 15 3A Division 1 with Goliad and Orange Grove. Gunner up to 3A Division 1 is in a new look 5 3A Division 1 with Pottsboro, Pilot Point, and Whitesboro. Edna, don't bury the lead, in there with Columbus in Region 2. It's not just moving to Region 2, you're moving into arguably the toughest district in Region 2.
Region 3, that 11 3A Division 1 is outstanding. that's the big thing. Not a ton of shocking news here in 3A Division One, except for I think Llano and Ingram Moore moving to Region One. Shocking. I thought there was a chance Edna would go Region 3, but Llano, I did not have Llano in Region 1.
North Texas in Division 2 goes west. Jacksboro, City View, Henrietta, and Holiday will meet Merkel and Breckenridge in 4-3A Division 2. Defending 2A Division 1 state champ Hamilton is into 5-3A Division 2 with Rio Vista, Comanche, and Toller. East Texas District 9, which is Edgewood, Grand Saline, Lone Oak, stays intact, but they flip to District 8. That's an example of one of those things that if you need to pay attention to the district number as well. And finally, how about Blanco? A little subtle, moving into District 15, 3A Division 2 with Poth. That is a dangerous district.
Yeah, Blanco moving in. You got District 6, 3A Division 2, kind of your charter school district with Gateway, Inspired Vision, Trinity, Cedar Hill Trinity, and then I don't know who Mesquite PTAA is, but that's apparently a new school playing football. Not sure who they are, but they're going to be in District 6 3A Division 2.
Let's roll through some Class 2A headlines. We get to the smallest 11-man classification here, where a Region 2 makeover in Division 1. Cisco, Anson, Hawley join Dilion in District 5. Two-time defending Division 2 state champ Munster moves into District 6 with Alvord, and Mason and San Saba swing over to District 7 with newcomer Brady. We had questions of where Brady would land. The answer is in a really suddenly reloaded Region 2.
Yeah, Region 2. The past 2 years, we thought Region 2 and 2A Division 1 was among the most wide-open regions in the state. Now it is power-packed. There are some good football teams in Region 2 and 2A Division 1.
Tom Bean and Wolf City, coming off of big years, pivot to Region 3, joining Honeygrove and Cooper in District 9 2A Division 1. Frankston, Price, Carlisle, Cayuga, and Kearns move as a block to Region 3. In District 10. Meanwhile, you've got Division 2 move-ups, Lovelady and Iola in 14-2A Division 1, joining Region 4 newcomers Jewett Leon and Centerville.
And then Shiner in District 15, 2A Division 1. We get Shiner Ganado in district play, buddy. That's going to be big time.
Meanwhile, in Division 2, Power Pack 1 2A Division 2. If you got Groover and Stanford, how about you add in Stinnett West Texas to that mix?
Yeah, that makes it tougher automatically right then and there.
Mart flips sides of the bracket again, back to Region 2 with Santo, Frost, and 2A Division 1 drop down Crawford. Lindsay, Collinsville, and Era flip to Region 3 in District 9.
We watched Lindsay play last year. I did not think of Lindsay as a Region 3 team.
Very, very interesting. Meanwhile, Bremont and Chilton move back to Region 4 with Burton and in a star-studded District 13 2A Division 2. There are your 2A headlines. Let's round it all out with a look at the 6-man headlines. Class 1A, where there is major upheaval with 33 teams changing their regions in Division 1. 3 of the 4 state semifinalists change regions. 3-time defending state champ Gordon moves to Region 4. Rankin moves from 4 to 3. Rankin moves from 1 to 2, and Union Hill moves from 3 to 4. You've got 2 other regional finalists in May, who moves to Region 3, and Aquila, who moves from 3 to 4. You have 2-time defending 2A Division 2 state champs Jayton landing in District 4 1A Division 1 with Hermley and Aspermont. Down in 5A D1, keep an eye on this district. Klondike, Sands, Borden County, Westbrook, and Ira. That is absolutely loaded. Richland Springs flips sides of the bracket, moving from Region 4 to Region 2. And 2023 Division 2 state champ Benjamin flips sides of the brackets as well, going from Region 2 to Region 3. Other than that, not a whole lot of news, Matt Stepp.
No biggie.
It is your initial reaction to what we've seen from the alignment.
Listen, the UIL, we always say it, they like to shake it up, and I think we can safely say this realignment, things have gotten shaken up, especially in the larger classifications. I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to have to dig around and look to see where I have some issues, but I mean, it's a different way to look at things. I mean, I'm surprised by the shakeups. I don't like the small districts. I wish we could get rid of the 5 and 4 team districts, but I know sometimes geography, especially in West Texas, dictates that. But overall, it's going to be hard for me to wrap my mind around an Austin district in Region 3 in Class 6A. But and then, man,
it's kind of a return to form. Remember, it used to be pretty standard for there to be one Austin district, but it's been years and years since that happened.
Yeah, or you might see it in Region 2 at times, but not in Region 3. Houston has pretty much had their own region in 6A, and now they don't. And then obviously 11 6A is still the District of Doom. It's just you flip out DeSoto and Cedar Hill, and you add in Crowley and North Crowley and Mansfield Lake Ridge. So it's going to be wild.
Why listen to us yap? I had the opportunity to sit down with the UIL Executive Director, Dr. Jamie Harrison, to talk about this UIL realignment. Pleased to be joined now by the Executive Director of the UIL on the heels of UIL Realignment, Dr. Jamie Harrison. Dr. Harrison, thank you so much for your time. I know it's a busy time of year for you.
You bet. It's important that you guys cover it, and we appreciate you doing it.
Let's talk a little bit about this realignment process. You're first as the Executive Director. I know you've been deeply involved with the realignment process throughout your time here at the UIL. I know you've told me in the past that each realignment is different. Each realignment has its own nuances and its own kind of shape. What was different about this particular alignment scenario?
So I think the biggest difference here, all alignments have curveballs. Mm-hmm. The timing of those curveballs can be different, but there are curveballs to every alignment. This one was, in particular in 5A, understanding what schools meant by their opt-up decisions. Mm-hmm. Right, so they gave them to us, and we interpreted them a certain way, and then after speaking with them a little more thoroughly, we understood better what they meant by what they gave us. Of course, that caused a late move in the division cut. We've not had that before, so that's probably been the biggest curveball for this particular.
And one of the things that I think is interesting is the amount of talking and correspondence you have with these schools leading up to alignment. You're in constant communication with these guys, and it's two ways. You guys telling them, hey, what would you think about this? And them saying, hey, is there a way that we can get this kind of, this particular alignment? They don't always get their wish, but I know that that's something that we've talked about, that you guys have tried to go out of your way to make these wishes happen for them.
Yeah, so that's something the general public doesn't know, is how much input from schools goes into our final product. And a lot of that is a byproduct of releasing the school's enrollment figures, right? We did that as an added layer of transparency. A decade or longer ago, we started releasing the enrollment figures that they give us publicly, so that everybody can see. And if there's questions about it, we can sort through those questions before we get the alignment completed. That also led to us being able to release the cutoffs earlier, right? If we're releasing all the enrollments, then we know what the cutoffs are going to be. We can release that. That's been a bit of a pressure release for coaches and schools who are trying to think through what their non-district schedules might look like. They know who's D1, who's D2, whether they're 5A or 6A, for example, or 2A or 3A. But what's also happened with those being released early is schools now get a pretty good idea of what's around them, right? They know who they're going to be in a division with or who they're going to be in a conference with. And that has allowed a lot more conversation back and forth. Now, again, we can't always grant what everybody wants, because oftentimes two different schools want conflicting things, right? So there's no way to grant both of them. But especially those geographic outliers who are going to have to travel no matter where we put them, we spend a lot of time visiting with those schools about what is the best travel for you, what makes the most sense for your community, and we do our very best to incorporate that into what we release.
And realignment has changed significantly from the days of cork boards and push pins and rubber bands. Now there's technology involved. You've got these mapping systems that'll allow you to try out different scenarios. Can you tell us a little bit about the way that technology is now informing these decisions?
Yeah, we work with an engineering firm and use a software called GIS, which is a pretty standard surveying and mapping software. But what that's done compared to the old days, because it really the end product is the same, right? We're just drawing a circle with a pen instead of a rubber band. But what it allows us to do is create many more scenarios and then run real-time data. So if we move this school from this district to that district, what is that going to do from a total miles traveled for all of the schools impacted? And we can get that pretty quickly. So we have significantly more versions of every map now that we run through before we release our finals. We always did multiple versions. We always considered it, and there was ways to kind of do mileage, but it wasn't nearly as exact as what we have now. And so we'll run through 50 different plans for one map before we land on, well, this geographic outlier is better going east than west, or it's better going north than south, or whatever it is, because that software allows us to do that. We can get a lot more creative, we can look at a lot more options, and we get real data to support the final decision.
Getting into this particular alignment a little bit, one of the things that struck me is the ripple effects and the downstream effects of some parts of the state and demographic shifts. For example, for the first time, at least since I can remember, there will not be a Houston ISD district in the state's largest classification. That is pretty big. We knew that because of the cutoffs and the numbers that have been released. Can you tell us a little bit about how that informed other decisions and how that can have ripple effects across the state?
Yeah, in some ways, it not only informs other decisions, but it dictates them, right? So Houston ISD, Fort Worth ISD is another great example, Dallas ISD. With not having any Houston schools in 6A, that obviously changes the 6A map. It creates a little more creativity option for us, but it also creates some problems. But then you look at the ripple effect. There are no Houston ISD schools in 5A Division II football, for example. So they have their own district in 5A Division I. So that takes there's only 16 districts in a division map. So that takes a district off the table, which makes 5A more complicated, especially in the eastern, southeastern portion of the state, or in the northern portion of the state with Fort Worth ISD. And then you go down to 5A Division II. Again, there's not a Houston ISD school there. And so if there were some, we could create a little closer travel for some of the schools that are close to Houston, but they're not options there. So when you have an ISD that encompasses an entire district, it effectively takes a district off the map, right? So one of the 16 is taken, and that gives us less flexibility for the others. But conversely, it creates a different effect on the corresponding map, the division where they leave no schools. So it's important for the public to know that by rule, schools in the same conference or in football, same conference and same division that are in the same ISD, by rule, they have to be in the same district unless there's more than 10. They have to be in the same district. So trying to piece together those districts that this ISD has 4, this ISD has 3, this ISD has 8, this ISD has 7, and trying to figure districts out geographically that makes any kind of sense is very complicated.
And it's led to, one of the things I think people will notice when they grab the 6A alignments is out west. Well, colloquially known as the Little Southwest Conference, Odessa, Midland, and San Angelo Central schools, all in one district, in one 5-team district, in District 2 6A. I know that you can look at a map and you can say that those schools are on islands. What kind of scenarios went into that decision to leave them as a 5-team district? Because I know that's something the UIL tries to avoid.
We want to avoid 5-team districts for multiple reasons. One, the schools involved have a really hard time filling their non-district schedule. 2, if you have 5 teams in one district, it ups the average in the remaining districts, right? That just means more schools in a district than all of the rest of the map. So we try hard to avoid that. But there are scenarios where there just aren't any good options. When you look at the 2 Midland schools, the 2 Odessa schools, and San Angelo as a 5-team district, there are literally 0 6A schools to their north. There are none in the Lubbock area, none in the Panhandle. There are no 6A schools north of them. West of them, the closest school is in El Paso. East of them, the closest 2 schools are Granbury and Weatherford, which aren't close. And to their south, the closest school is Del Rio. So they are just such a geographic outlier. San Angelo to Midland and Odessa is not a short trip. If it's somebody in the Houston or Dallas or Austin area would think, what are you doing? That's a crazy trip. For them, they do it all the time, unfortunately. But that's not a short trip. When you start trying to bring in the Fort Worth area or the border with Del Rio or way out to El Paso, it just becomes impossible to make those trips work. So we were left with a very unfortunate scenario. We've talked to those guys. We will continue to talk to those guys to see how we can help them. But the map just didn't offer any other options.
I think one thing other people are going to notice is some schools that are flipping districts and sometimes sides of the bracket, so to speak. Teams like Stephenville, the defending state champs in 4A Division I, moving from Region 2 over to Region 3 in District 12. Llano, which was a team that was a regional finalist last year in 3A Division I, out of Region 4, making the move over to Region 1. How mindful are you guys of changing those regions like that, especially in that greater Central Texas area?
We try hard to avoid it when we can, but our staff spends a great deal of time on district numbering, which equates to regions. Some of the most spirited arguments or conversations that we have as staff is how to number those districts. But with the changing demographics of the state, the closer you are to the middle, the more likely you are to change regions, right? I mean, if you're in the northeastern corner, if you're in the panhandle, you know where you're going to be. If you're on the border, you know where you're going to be. The closer you are to the middle of the state, the more likely it is that you can be 1, 2, 3, or 4. And so we don't like when that happens. We know the schools don't like when that happens. We try to avoid it where we can, but again, the map only gives us so many options.
Back here, that's Dr. Jamie Harrison, UIL Executive Director. Sat down with him, talk a little bit about this alignment. One guy who's had a keen eye, he's been pouring through the pages here. We're pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Denton-Guyer Wildcats, Coach Reed Heim. Coach, first of all, how are we feeling? I know today is a very a lot of emotions, a lot of anxiety. How are you feeling now that you've got your district alignment?
Pretty good about, we're going to be back with the Louisville schools. I think that's been very good for us as far as very good teams, good coaching staffs, and the team that drops out, Capella, is a very good team. They're going to be very good over the next 2 years. So we pick up Wakeland. That was a surprise 6A team out of the Frisco district. So they're typically very good offensively, well-coached team. So I think you look at it, it's a really good district and an opportunity for us to be challenged enough so that we can do well in the playoffs.
Coach, how important is it, and people don't realize this because we just look at football, right, an on-the-field product, but that familiarity with the Louisville ISD schools, when you guys try to work together in DEC meetings and kind of setting that up, it's got to be comforting to know that you're working with a group of schools that you have relationships already built with. This kind of makes the process go a little bit smoother when you're trying to get those meetings and everything done, right?
No question, and it had been forever. We talked about in the office prior to us getting hooked up with the Louisville schools, we're right next to them. It's closer for us to drive from Guyer High School to Marcus, Flower Mountain, to even C.H. Collins. So, we know about them, they know about us, and then it makes sense geographically for us to be close to them at least every couple of cycles. And like I said, it's a great coaching staff, all, guys that have been doing it for a long time. They're great to work with, and our meetings go well. Brian does a great job kind of heading things up there.
I want to ask you a little bit about this alignment and how you approach it when you get this packet. When it pops up on the big board, obviously you're looking for the name Guyer and you're looking there. Where do you go from there as far as taking a look and taking in what you're looking at? Do you look at like by district matchup, region? How much do you start zooming out?
Well, I think there's probably people who do a better job of already knowing those. Like, hey, if we get grouped with this, who are we going to play? All that. For me, it is, us being in that kind of not really because we're two schools, so we're not like a true swing school, but are we going to go east? Are we going to go west? What does it look like? Because we've been, my first 2 years as head coach, we were, it was my first time being a head coach and, playing Allen and playing the Prosper schools and then getting grouped with the good Louisville schools. So for me, it's just not really knowing where it's going to be and what that's going to be like. And then the other piece of ours is that because the way that our district is, we share a stadium with 2 other schools. So for me, it's like, okay, my next big step once non-district is set up is, okay, what nights I'm going to play on Thursday, what nights are going to be Friday. Well, I have to play a Saturday game, which typically we don't, but those are the things that I'm asking right now.
Is there a little bit of sense of relief when you look at the packet and you count the number of teams in your district that you got 8 and not 7 because you have to scramble for that week 4, right?
Yeah, no question. Or a 9 where you got to call somebody and say you can't play them anymore. And we came in today without a week 2, and now we've got that. So I feel good. We got our 3 non-district, and then now we know the district. So
would you care to break some news and tell us who you got non-district?
So we'll open up with Heath. Rodney's over there. He's the one that I replaced at Guyer, so we've got a great relationship there. Week 2, our one spot coming into today, we're going to play Melissa. So Matt signed up for that. I don't think it'll be really good. I talked to him when we started, texting back and forth. It's like, hey, we've been doing this with Alito the last 4 years, and I think it's been very good. We want to, they want to, and they're going to have to beat some very quality teams like later in late in the rounds, and it's good to get some of that action early on in non-district, and then we'll finish up with Waxahachie.
Okay.
Oh boy, you're just loading up Patsies over there, Coach.
Yeah, really.
This cupcake non-district schedule over here.
No question. And we've got a lot of questions to answer. We graduated a lot of guys on defense. We may have some key pieces coming back on offense, but it's good for us. Typically, if you looked at us over the last couple of years, we are consistently playing good teams in non-district.
One more question for you, Coach. Just when you get the packet and you're looking at things, do you go look at your other Denton schools to kind of see if is Ryan or Denton High in a 9-team district or an 8-team district? Because that could potentially impact some of that stadium scheduling, right?
Absolutely, and I will. I haven't done it yet, but I will. When we get home, hey, what does that look like? Non-district for them, district for us. Like, how do we work that schedule out?
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about last year. There with the Wildcats. Now that you've had a month or two to kind of soak it in, how do you assess what you guys were able to do in 2025?
Well, I think kind of my rule of thumb is if you win 10 games, you're doing pretty good.
Yep.
And we have an expectation. We've got 2 state championships. We've been in 9 semifinals. We've played for 5 state championships. So that expectation is still there. But we know that we've got work to do if we're going to continue to, you look at all the great teams in the Metroplex, and it just feels like there's more teams getting really good year in, year out. So we got our work cut out for us. But looking back, I'm happy with the season and look forward to next.
He's Reed Heim. He's the head coach of the District 5 6A bound Denton Guyer Wildcats. Coach, we appreciate your time. I know today's a busy day, but I appreciate you making some time for us.
Thank you, Teb.
Thanks,
Stepp.
Thanks, Coach. Reed Heim, head coach of the Denton Guyer Wildcats, join us here at UIL Realignment here at Birdville. You can just leave that there. It's fine. I can get double microphone. It'll be great. Now you're good. It's fine. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you. We're here breaking down UIL Realignment. Obviously, in Class 6A, we kind of went through the big headlines there. Now you've had a couple more minutes to kind of soak it in. What has jumped out to you in 6A now that you've the shock has worn off?
Yeah, I think, just again, that North Shore Humble ISD district being District 17, then Dickinson and Deer Park in District 18, that Region 3 map has completely gotten reshaped, and it's going to take some getting used to. I think Coppell, if you're Antonio Wiley, you're looking at it a little surprised. I don't think anyone had Coppell with the Richardson ISD schools. A little bit of a surprise there. I think District 8's kind of a back to the future district. I can remember as a young reporter, Trinity and South Grand Prairie having huge rivalry. Trinity being with the Irving ISD schools. They haven't been with them for quite a while. So, I think Saginaw-Boswell kind of getting into a district with Keller and the Northwest schools. Obviously, South Lake Carroll's the big bad wolf in District 4. But I think Boswell, you got to look at it and they're like, man, we came out of this thing fairly, I think we have a chance to compete here. Yeah,
I think so. And I think the thing that we're going to be talking about, you mentioned Region 3. The headline, I think, is the Austin area district in Leander ISD joining in District 24.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I think
100%.
If you want to talk about ripple effects, and we asked Dr. Jamie Harrison about this, there is no Houston ISD district in 6A.
Correct.
For the first time in a long, long time, not in the largest classification. And as a result, a district opened up in Region 3. You had to have a District 24.
Yeah.
And so in the end, it ends up being North Austin there with Leander.
Yeah.
And so suddenly Vandegrift flips into Region 3 where they could be seeing Houston area teams they will be seeing Houston area teams in the first
We could
round.
have a state semifinal rematch potentially somewhere early in the playoffs with Vandegrift and C.E. King potentially. Yeah. So it makes Region 3 a lot more interesting. And I think now District 23 and 24, those top seeds are going to be huge because you want to host in the first round of the playoffs.
And then also, by the way, another thing, we're talking about the Austin area kind of makeover. Talk about Lake Travis and Westlake splitting off from Dripping Springs. I think Dripping Springs came out smelling like a rose here.
Yeah, for real. Dripping Springs going into District 26, getting away from Westlake and Lake Travis. They've competed with Westlake and Lake Travis well, but Galen Zimmerman's got at least. He won't say it publicly, but I think he's got to be feeling good about where those guys lie.
We can say it.
We can say it.
We can say it.
Us journalists can say it, yeah.
Exactly right. We're here at the Birdville Fine Arts and Athletic Complex for UIL Realignment 2026, presented by our friends at Hometown Ticketing. They help make this show possible. Make sure you go check out our friends at Hometown Ticketing. A lot of buzz here in the building as things are going on, and it's not just because of our next guest. We are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the reigning, defending, undisputed 6A Division II state champion, DeSoto Eagles, Coach Claude Mathis, on the heels of UIL Realignment. Coach, it's great to see you. First and foremost, you've had 33 minutes to look at it. How are you feeling about where your Eagles landed?
It's a good district. I feel that we have two of our teams that were in our last district over there with us right now. It's a very competitive district, and it doesn't matter. You're the state of Texas, so you're going to always have a pretty hard schedule.
Coach, first off, congratulations on the state championship.
Appreciate it.
That's 3 out of the last 4 years. You guys have built that thing into just a monster there at DeSoto. Yeah. But people on the outside of the building are going to look at DeSoto and say, hey, they're dropping to 5A, just bookmark them for a state championship. I know you know that's not the case. What is your message to anyone or any of if your team thinks that? Because I think you mentioned it, your district's still tough.
Yeah, you can get beat on any given night. It doesn't matter what level you're on. It can happen. And our kids going to know that. And, our kids understand that the culture there, it doesn't matter if you line up, you still got to play the game. Doesn't matter what level you're on, you still got to play the game, you still got to win. So our kids understand it. And trust me, we won't let them get relaxed. They won't be relaxed at all. They understand what's at stake.
I want to ask you about the decision to not opt up. Last time you guys turned in a 5A number, you guys, DeSoto ISD opted up to Class 6A. I know that you're not, we all got bosses. You're not the final decision maker there. Can you talk us through the decision to stay in 5A and that process and how it was involved?
Well, at the time, me and my superintendent decided we were going to do it best for all of our programs. And so all of our coaches had a say. Mm-hmm. So we sent out a little thing where everybody had to say how she got everybody's responses. And me and her sat down and we talked again. And, of course, she talked to the board. And so a lot happened over the last 2 years. A lot changed. Our enrollment dropped a little bit more. And so we decided this time around it was best that we make a decision that was best again for all of our kids, especially with over the last 2 years. So that's what we went our decision on. That's what we based it off of. And we came to the decision to drop the 5A.
Now, Coach, I know we talked a little bit before realignment of potential districts, and there were some scenarios where you guys could have done a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
Looking at your district from a travel standpoint, I'm assuming you're pretty happy with kind of how things shook out. I mean, I guess Cleburne is the longest road trip.
Cleburne's a haul.
But even from Cleburne to DeSoto, just get on 67 and go. It's not that bad of a travel district, right?
And I think the last time that was a decision to make it because I think we're going to have to do a little bit more traveling than we are this time. This time around, it's a lot better. I think Cleburne is our longest trip. I haven't really had a chance to take a look at everything, but financially, it's going to help us out and benefit us for sure. You're right on that right there.
You mentioned, we talk about having new district bunkmates. I'm sure you've already met up with a number of those guys and stuff like that. As far as those meetings are concerned, with guys that you have, in the past you've been with a lot of the same guys in there. How do those meetings, those introductions happen, and take us through what these meetings look like from your perspective?
Well, we were just talking about meeting up already. They want to go meet at Newsom at 11 o'clock, and I'm like, why can't we just do it here? So it's already kind of started already. The good thing about it, I know a couple of those guys in the district right now, but it's kind of already picked up. You got to go find a DEC who's going to represent, who's going to be the main leader for that in your district. You got to find out your schedule. You got to pull all this stuff. So it's different because in the old district, those guys already. We sit at the table, we get it done right now. But no, it's not right now.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, Coach, when you look at your non-district schedule, obviously, when if there is a bad part about winning a state championship, it's that people aren't really lined up to play you in non-district.
Not a lot of eye contact today.
Yeah. So, do you have any sense of your non-district schedule yet, or
yes,
what you have going
our
on?
non-district schedule is always going to be tough, but I've done that throughout my career.
Sure.
Week 2, Allen, Allen, and then week 3, Duncanville.
Okay, yeah, just going with cupcakes already.
Yeah, already. So we got to find a week 1, and that's what we're looking for right now, week 1.
Okay. In general, you guys, obviously you'll play an in-state opponent, but an out-of-state opponent is not out of the question as well.
We were going there. Actually, we were going out of state. Mm-hmm. We already had that plan. We were going to go to Florida in week 1, but Mr. Parrish Classic came to me, and he's done so much for our community and for our school. And for us, our football program, that I couldn't pass that up right there. So that's why we changed our mind. So we're going to play in the Classic with the Roe Parish Classic. And so that's why I didn't go to Florida.
Okay, so they're going to bring an opponent.
Yeah, it's going to be in the Cotton Bowl. It's going to be on the Cotton Bowl.
Oh, the Cotton Bowl.
Fantastic.
All right. Do the kids know how to play on grass?
First time ever, man. Don't start me on that one.
Well, one of your district opponents, Cleburne, is a grass field. They have an old Cleburne Stadium is from the 1920s. It is an old stadium right in the middle. It'll take you back to your Bartlett days, Coach.
God,
it's old
so
school.
Good. Yeah, they're playing in place for me. I didn't even know that right there.
Yeah.
But Bartlett days, you ain't lying. I haven't played on grass.
Since you were in Somerville?
Yeah. Stop, Matt. Stop.
Man, you're dating them.
But hey, Coach, you ran for a lot of yards on grass back in the day.
I did.
I was going to say no excuses there. I would be remiss if we didn't ask you about your 2025 state champions. I went up to you as you guys were getting warmed up for that title game, and we talked briefly, and I told you, Coach, with all due respect, this is not your most talented team. You've had teams that were loaded with prospects that didn't get to this point. What was it, now that you've had some time to reflect, what was it about that 25 squad that made them champions?
They came together as a team. They didn't want their legacy to end with that 70-28 loss in Georgia. We came to a Jesus meeting in the gym. They put us in the gym. But that day, they didn't want their legacy to be the 70-28. They wanted people to remember them. This is a DeSoto team our alumni are going to be proud of. It's part of our culture, and they wouldn't let anybody down. But they didn't want to be the team to remember as a DeSoto team that didn't even make it to the playoffs or get beat in the first or second round. They did not want to be remembered for that.
It was a remarkable run and a joy to watch you guys. And now in 5A Division I, where it's not going to go a whole lot easier. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean?
We just noticed that.
Yeah.
Me and Coach Swinney just looked at it, and we just said, we think that's the hardest region. We just looked at it, and we're like, okay, all right. We see a lot of things that goes on. And we saw that right there. We're just sticking our head to each other like, okay, we see what's going on. But
Frisco Lone Star, Highland Park, great football programs.
Yeah.
And if you guys were lucky enough to play them in the playoffs, it'll be fun matchups. I know you guys will be excited about it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, it's like I said, there's no cupcakes. There's not. I mean, it's high school football, but especially anything can happen in the playoffs, especially when you get hot. And Matt knew, going back to the 25 team, he knew what kind of team we had. I mean, if anybody in the state of Texas knew about DeSoto and the kind of players we were dealing with, Matt knew. And I would say this, dropping down to this division right here in Region 2, it's tough. So our kids will have to be ready, be prepared, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
He's Claude Mathis, head coach of the 6A Division II state champs, moving to District 8 5A Division I. Coach, I know you're busy. Appreciate you taking some time.
I got to work on that ring for you, though. Work on that ring.
Enjoy getting fitted for that
Thank
ring.
you, my man. I appreciate you.
You guys
Claude
do a great
Mathis.
job, man. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. There he goes, Claude Mathis, head coach of the now 5A DeSoto Eagles. That'll take some getting used to.
It will.
But I think he's right. He's in tough district, and I think the toughest region in 5A D1.
Yeah, I think Region 2, 5A Division 1 is absolutely loaded with good football teams. Aside from DeSoto, Cedar Hill is going to be really good next year. I told you 2 years ago when Steven Jackson got the West Mesquite job, he was going to have West Mesquite rolling.
Yep.
I think he'll have Lancaster rolling as well.
I think so too.
Highland Park, Buck Randall back for a third year at quarterback. You can never count the Scots. Richland has one of the best running backs in the state in Jay Sean Gibson. Frisco Lone Star with Trey Wright coming back. I mean, loaded Region 2.
Let's talk a little bit about 4A. Let's get to some breakdown of 4A and what we've seen in. Well, actually, you know what? Let's stick with 5A if we don't mind. I'm sorry, I'm sending our producer Vianney Moreno all over the place.
Adjusting on the fly.
Other thoughts from 5A now that you've had some time to soak it in. What you're seeing from the new look 5A. I don't know if there's a whole lot of big time headlines coming out of 5A. I think the biggest one is that you take a look at some of the big shockers from last time. Port Neches Groves moving over to Region 2, Liberty Hill moving into Region 3, things like that. That seemed, and then even like Lufkin, who ended up appealing their district. I think you end up in Angleton as well. I think you end up seeing a relatively kind of a return to form, I would say, in 5A.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Actually, both Victoria schools, because Victoria West in Division 2 also moves into Region 3. So Victoria goes from a Region 4 to a Region 3. District 6 is in 5A Division 1 is really unique because you got the Carrollton schools, the two Carrollton's having to go, Highland Park and Naaman Forest has got to travel all the way across the Metroplex into Northeast Tarrant County. So a little bit interesting there from a travel standpoint. District 4, White Settlement Brewer.
Yeah,
they got to be feeling pretty good about things going with Fort Worth ISD. I think they'll be able to compete very well in that district. I think Region 3, District 11 is loaded. Iowa Colony, Angleton, Randall.
I think that Randall Angleton game is going to be
Dulles down from 6A.
Office, yeah.
And hey, I've heard some talk that Katie Freeman, the new school in Katy ISD, they're going to, you remember Pato? Pato competed right away. Jordan competed right away.
Yes, they do.
I think Katie Freeman is going to be able to compete right away in District 11 5A Division 1. District 12 5A Division 1 is an absolute fireworks factory. Once again, I've had people tell me they think Pflugerville Weiss might be the best team in Austin regardless of classification.
Oh, wow.
You pair Malcolm Hill's ball club with College Station, A&M Consolidated, Georgetown, Colleen Shoemaker, a 6A playoff team dropping down. 12 5A Division 1 is an absolute meat grinder.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy there. I'm in 5A Division 2, a lot of things kind of returning to form, I think. What you see it in 5A Division 2. One of the things that I think you take a look at, I'm always on the lookout for teams that are switching regions. You got a number of teams from the San Antonio area Teams like Burbank, Burbank, Lanier, Highlands, Brackenridge, all flip over to Region 4 from after a one realignment stint in Region 3.
Yeah, but that by-district matchup with District 13 is going to be brutal.
Yeah.
Bernie, Liberty Hill, New Braunfels, Alamo Heights in the same district. That is a
tough, and even San Antonio Veterans Memorial, which is a team that I know had
they've had some years.
They've had some great years.
I think Long Creek out of the new school out of New Braunfels is going to be a good team right away. District 12, a small district, a 6-team district. Hey, if you're Bastrop and Elgin and Pflugerville, you got to be feeling fairly good about things. Austin Lassa returning to UIL football in 2026 back in 5A Division II. That'll be interesting as well. District 9 is a really unique. You've got Huntsville, and Huntsville gets split off from P&G, so I think Huntsville going into District 9, I think Todd Mavis has got to feel pretty good that they can possibly compete for a district championship. They competed very well against P&G. And then Brenham moving from Region 3 to Region 2.
Yeah.
Obviously Region 2, South Oak Cliff is the team to beat. And I'm telling you, District 7, Mansfield Timberview is an up-and-coming program. Chakotay Coleman has got that thing rolling. Timberview is going to be a real problem, I think, in Region 2 and 7-5A Division 2.
It's the UIL Realignment Special here live at the Birdville Fine Arts and Athletic Complex. These are coaches, all some of whom are very happy, some of whom not so happy. We've had
guys who are happy have to pretend they're not happy to not be disrespectful.
We've had both stop by, and
disrespect season starts early.
We've had both happy and sad dap us up over here. We are going all the way until the top of the hour. Let's take a look at Class 4A and what we see in Class 4A. Again, 4A Division 1, I think the headline here is that the UIL looked at the regions and was just like, what if we shake things up a little bit?
Shake it up just for fun. And I think you start in Region 1, Alvarado, back-to-back regional finalists, moving over to District 4 in a tough district. With
Very
Decatur,
tough district.
And some tough road trips. Alvarado to Lake Dallas is not close, and it's across the Metroplex. That's a tough road trip. 4-team district in District 3, 4A Division 1. Really interested to see what the UIL does here, or what not UIL, what the district does. I don't know how they're going to find. I haven't seen a whole lot of 4-team districts in other classifications. It might be the only 4-team district in the state. I don't know. Haven't looked at the smaller classifications, but interesting there. You got the El Paso district. District 8. That's a 8-team district there in East Texas, with Bullard coming up from Division 2, and then Jacksonville dropping down. So it's an 8-team district there.
Well,
but
and
that
you've
district
got
moves from Region 3 to Region 2.
That's exactly right. You've got teams like we mentioned Kilgore, but let's not forget Lindale, Pine Tree, Chapel Hill, Henderson, all moving over to Region 2 as well.
Yeah.
That East Texas kind of swinging through. The other thing that I'm very interested in, I think maybe flies under the radar, Bay City and El Campo, flipping over from Region 4 to Region 3.
Yeah.
In a tough district with Sealy. That's a tough draw.
Sealy, West Columbia moving up from Division 2, a district champion last year. Interesting there. One thing that just caught my eye just now, Dallas Spruce. We had heard Dallas Spruce was opting up to 5A Division 2. They did not. They are in a 9-team district in District 6. That's great news for South Oak Cliff, because now South Oak Cliff will get to play 3 non-district games, which means they'll likely get to keep that Week 3 matchup against South Lake Carroll now. Yeah, that would be huge for them. And of course, we talked about Stephenville, and I think it's worth mentioning that like Stephenville does lie in a bit of a crossroads part of the state, right there, kind of that big country area. They've sent them west before. They've sent them like northwest to the DFW Metroplex before. This time they opt to basically send them to Central Texas. Yes,
and the Hill Country.
Geographically makes sense. It's just the bi-district matchup that really throws it off, because you would think they would go either into Dallas or into Austin for bi-district. They're going to West Houston. Yeah. So we could have a Stephenville Bay City bi-district matchup. I guess they'd play in College Station somewhere. Yeah. I don't know where a neutral site would be for that, but that's a state semifinal type geography matchup that we're going to get in the first round of the playoffs. And by the way, they're in a district with Lampasas, China Spring. We'll have a new coach as well. Very interesting there in 4A Division 1. 4A Division 2, I think, has got some interesting. Although I will say, before we get over that, we knew this was coming, but you see Corpus Christi Miller dropping into. I don't think it's necessarily a surprise where they drop into geographically. It makes a lot of sense. But I'll tell you, Cal Allen, Calhoun, a resurgent Toloso Midway program. Cal Allen and Miller in district play will be that's going to be a fun district matchup in the 3-6-1. Very, very tasty. 4A Division 1, we talked about how El Paso gets their own 4A Division 2 district there with Irvin, Clint, Fabens, et cetera. That, I think, is huge, because it saves a lot of people some travel, because otherwise you're going to have to loop in some teams. Although, you've got a couple of you've got some 5-team districts there with Seminole, Fort Stockton, District 2.
I think one of the interesting things here is going to be, I want to see, you look at what happened with Iowa Park, dropping down into 4A Division 1, or moving up into 4A Division 1. That's a rough landing there. Brock Graham, Mineral Wells for Iowa Park.
Yeah, it's a tough district. It's gonna be tough for the Hawks moving up. They are in Region 1, so if you can get into the playoffs, you have a potential manageable first-round matchup, potentially, if you can get a higher seed. I think Hillsboro.
Yeah.
Hillsboro's trying to find them a head coach. I think other than Glen Rose, if you're a Hillsboro fan, you got to feel really good about your alignment. And then I think your by-district matchup is definitely workable in District 6. What I see in Region 2 is my eyes go right to District 8.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if in the third round of the playoffs we get a District 8 semifinal with all 4 teams in this district playing. 'Cause let me tell you, Pittsburgh, they had a resurgence last year. They're going to be a problem, and you got Carthage. Gilmer's going to be better next year. Center has new head coach Jack Alvarez. That guy's a winner.
Oh, yeah.
District 8 is an absolute murder factory.
Meanwhile, take a look at what happened around Madisonville. They're in District. They were in District 11. They stay in Region 3 in District 9, but they get joined by Athens, Van, Canton, who had a terrific season last year.
Madisonville to Canton.
Yeah.
That is a haul, y'all. That is a long travel game. Never thought I'd see Madisonville and Canton in the same district.
Meanwhile, the other thing I would look at, and again, when you're in Central Texas broadly, you can kind of go a variety of different ways. La Vega has felt that pretty acutely. They swing back over to Region 4 from Region 2, Region 3 last year. But they move with Robinson, they move with Connolly. They will join Brownwood as they instead go west.
Yeah. Here, the other thing I thought in Region 4, look at District 16. They basically combined the Rio Grande Valley and Corpus Christi once again. So a lot of travel in District 16. So Port Isabel having to go all the way to Ingleside to play a district game. That's a big district there in 16. Last realignment, the UIL made 2 small districts out of 15 and 16. This time they make 1 big district, and then San Cuero back into San Antonio in District 15.
Let's talk a little bit about Class 3A. Take a look at Class 3A, where we knew that there were going to be in 3A Division 1 some newcomers, some big high-profile newcomers in Wall and Gunner, each of which their landing spot is interesting kind of for different reasons. I think for Wall, to be looped in basically Concho Valley with the hill country there, getting in there with Ingram, Tom Moore, and Llano, that is pretty big news to flip over a couple of Region 4 powers. Ingram Moore had a terrific season last year, and Llano, a consistent winner, moving over to Region 1.
Yeah, Wall and Llano in district play is going to be a lot of fun. Ingram Moore had a great year. Tate Damasco did an unbelievable job. Considering all the circumstances off the field that Ingram Moore had to deal with, they had a record-setting year. Boy, Sweetwater's got some Clyde District 2. Clyde, Texas is east of Abilene. It's on the Metroplex side of Abilene. Clyde's got to go all the way to Kermit to play a district football game. Guys, look at a map and see where Kermit is. It's darn near in New Mexico. It is way out there. That's at least a 4-hour trip, so a lot of heavy travel there in Region 1. District 4, you lose Ponder, you lose Iowa Park to Class 4A, and now you've only got 5 teams there and I think Peaster. Yeah. Man, Peaster and Paradise in District 4 are going to be running the show, but hey, that's tough first-round matchups in District 3 with Llano and Wall.
Gunner lands in District 5. We thought that there was an outside chance they go west. They end up going east, essentially. And really what they end up doing is going south. They end up going south into Dallas with Life Oak Cliff and A-Plus Academy. But I'll tell you, Gunner, Pottsboro, Pilot Point is heady company. Welcome to 3A Division 1, Gunner.
Big-time teams there. District 6, Keene. Brand new UIL school. They're not a brand new UIL school. They're picking up football. The Keene Chargers in District 6. I think if you're Mahia hasn't hired a head coach yet. I look at their draw and they're like, man, we got Whitney and Grandview in our district. This is going to be tough. And Palmer's been really good in recent years as well. District 8 loaded with big-time East Texas programs. It's going to be tough. So Region 2 is going to be fun. But I think if you're Gunner, you got to feel like, hey, we can compete in this region and possibly win it.
Yeah, I think so. I think absolutely. In fact, you can make the argument that some of their toughest challenges are going to come from within their own district.
Absolutely.
District 5.
Yeah.
The storyline in Region 3, by the way, you can find all the alignments on TexasFootball.com right now. We've got them up, TexasFootball.com. Find every one of the new districts for the 2026-2027 Texas high school football seasons, thanks to our friends at Hometown Ticketing. The headliner region.
That's something that's, I think if you're Wichita Falls, City View, Jacksboro, you got to feel really good about things. Henrietta, Holiday. I mean, Holiday's played bridesmaid to Gunner several times. That Region 1 move is going to be interesting. I think District 5, Saw Joaquin Escobar at the DFW Coaches Clinic. A little bit nervous about realignment, but very happy they're dropping back down to Division II. I think Comanche comes out of this thing a big winner. And I think, you look at District 6, a lot of unknowns here. Dallas Madison dropping in from Division 1, along with Cedar Hill Trinity. And then I think Region 2. We haven't had a Region 2 winner other than Gunner in 10 years.
Yeah,
So
here's
Region
a promise, we will.
We will have that this year.
Well, and that's why I wonder if you look at District 8, which moved over from Region 3, basically that East Texas district with Edgewood, Grand Saline, Lone Oak, Harmony, all move en masse over to Region 2.
Yep.
That, to me, feels like a really nice draw for them.
Yeah, and then you look at Region 3, I think a big winner here is Buffalo, just from a travel standpoint. Buffalo was kind of in no man's land. They could have gone all the way down into Central Texas. They moved north into a much nicer travel district in District 11. And the last alignment, Buffalo went all the way into Deep East Texas. They were playing New Diana in district football games. So Buffalo, from a travel standpoint, a big winner here. No surprises really in District 9 and District 10.
I would say District 10, get your popcorn ready, though. That is we knew it was going to be this way, but now that you see it, Troop, ARP, Jefferson, West Rusk, New Diana has been great.
Jefferson moving down from Division 1. They had a little bit of a down year last year. Ty Taylor, they're not going to stand for that in Jefferson. They bring a lot of guys back, and they're moving down to Division 2. Watch out for the Jefferson Bulldogs.
Let me tell you something. Talk about dropping down. Hardin had a terrific year last year. Terrific year.
Yeah.
One of their best years in program history. Your reward for dropping down? Newton in district play.
And you got Woodville, who played for the state championship 2 years ago. Woodville's got a Division I quarterback in Luke Babin. So Hardin, not only does Hardin graduate the house, but they move into a really tough district in District 12.
Let's move on to Class 2A. Talk a little bit about what we got going on in Class 2A, where 2A Division 1, I really do think, we knew that there are going to be some move-ins here. Teams like Farwell, Hale Center out west, Sundown moving up from 2A Division 1. But to me, the story is we have gone from Region 2 of 2A Division 1 being like, who wants it? Unpredictable, don't really know.
Even though the state champion did come out of Region 2 last year.
But now to the power nexus in 2A Division 1. Is this the best region in 281?
I think a strong case can be made for it. When you move Mason, Munster, Hawley, Cisco, DeLeon over, big time stuff. I mean, Valley Mills was outstanding. So it's Johnson City had a great year last year. San Saba, Brady had a strong season. This is a tough Axtell.
Yeah. Axtell's been a team that they got to be like, what's going on? We were very comfortable here.
Tioga's been really good in recent memory.
Yeah.
This is a meat grinder of a region now. You don't really usually see this kind of power in a small classification like that.
I think so. We talked about with our headlines that you had two teams that were coming off of kind of breakout couple of years there with Wolf City and Whitewright. They switched sides of the bracket, moving over from Region 2 to Region 3, dropping in there with Cooper and Rivercrest and Honeygrove. Mm-hmm. They go east, and that is it's a significant upgrade, I would say.
Yeah, definitely a tougher district. Now, Honeygrove doesn't have Rylan Morris anymore,
Correct.
So that helps. But Honeygrove's still going to be very good. Coach Wiggins does a good job out there, along with that and Coach Little. They do a great job out there at Honeygrove. So even though they lose Rylan Morris, they're going to be – Cooper's been a strong team year in and year out. Wolf City, no more H.D. Davis, so we'll see how that goes in District 9. District 10, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed in 2A Division 1 is just the south, that kind of Nacogdoches, Piney Woods area. District 12, Garrison, Joaquin, St. Augustine had a resurgence last year. Timpson, Shelbyville. It's a brutal district once again.
It is a brutal district. And then I would also just point out another thing. You take a look at it, it might fly under people's radar, but teams like Jewett-Leon, Centerville, Corrigan, Camden flipping over to Region 4 from Region 3. That's pretty significant there into a Region 4 and 2A Division 1 that, needless to say, feels like it's still going to go through Refugio, even with a new coach. But you've got Refugio in District 16, and then you've got the must-see district matchup in 2A Division 1, I would say.
Ganado and Shiner.
That
One
is
other thing,
good stuff.
Here's the uniqueness about realignment. Those lines got to get drawn somewhere, right? I want you to look at District 8. There's Riesel, right?
Yep.
We've driven to College Station a bunch of times. You drive through Riesel. What town is 10 miles down the road from Riesel? Marlin. Marlin's in Region 4. That line got drawn right between Riesel and Marlin. They're 10 miles apart, yet one's in Region 2, one's in Region 4. That's, you got to draw a line somewhere, and that's what you see in 2A Division 1.
2A Division 2, I think, is more a little bit ho-hum. I would say my eyes on 2A Division 2 immediately go to District 7 with Albany, Stamford, Goldthwaite, Hamlin, who's had great years in the past. That is going to be – but then you also add in Mart flipping sides of the region, Crawford dropping back into Region 2. Those are teams, Crawford and Mart are two teams that can go anywhere, basically outside of Region 1.
Stanford and Albany in a district game is going to be a lot of that's going to be big news in the big country. You got a charter school in Region 1, Big Spring Pathway Academy. Never heard of them before, but they're playing football now, so we add them to the mix now. Stinnett, West Texas, dropping in from Division 1, the regional champ a year ago. So very interesting there. Region 3, I feel like, I don't want to say ho-hum, but I'm not looking at it as a whole.
I think the biggest headline is who joined with Collinsville, Lindsay, and Era.
That's the biggest.
That North Texas crew.
Like I said, I just did not see. I do not think of Lindsay as a Region 3 team. Yet here we are, Lindsay in Region 3. I go into Region 4, a big district in Central Texas with 8 schools in District 13. And then District 16, actually a 16 district because Lavia drops down from Division 1, so that's going to be a nice 16 district there. And then I think Yorktown in District 15, Yorktown and Falls City. Falls City has a new head coach, Will Kerhoff, coming over from Lovelady. So, I don't have my early impressions are I think the UIL. There's going to be a few things that I find when I really dig into it. It's all happening at once right now. But my first impressions are, other than a couple of shockers in the bigger classifications, I think in 2A and 3A, I don't see a lot of things that I would change. Yeah,
there's a couple of shockers there in the big classifications, but I think that you're right. Real quickly, I do want to touch on 1A because we talked about it in the headline segment. A ton of changes. We knew there was going to be some. Jayton, the two-time defending 2A Division 1 state or 2A Division or 1A Division 2 state champs, moving up to to Region 1. In 1A Division 1. They will draw Hermlein Aspermont, also moving up. That is big news. But to me, the headline is the regional changes. 33 of the 75 teams change regions in 1A Division 1, which is crazy, including you've got the defending state champs, Gordon, who move over from Region 4 to Region 3. That is big news. They'll be in there with May and Gorman. You got to add in, Newcastle moves over from Region 2 to Region 3. Things got shifted around pretty significantly. Heck, Union Hill, which was a state semifinalist a year ago, moves over to Region 4. That's a huge thing. And then you add in May, who was a regional finalist, and Aquila was a regional finalist in Region 3. They move over to Region 4. I also think the District of Doom in six-man football, pretty clearly, in my opinion, 5-1A Division 1, Klondike, Sands, Borden County, Westbrook, Ira, those are state championship caliber programs. And then in the 1A Division 2, the smallest classification of them all, you've got the state finalists from a year ago, Richland Springs. They flip sides of the bracket. They're also in that kind of, what is the middle of 1A country, where they can kind of flip either way. They go to Region 2. And Benjamin, who won the state championship back in 2023, they will flip brackets as well, going from Region 2 to Region 3. We are just getting started with our breakdown of UIL realignment. We got
so much content coming on TexasFootball.com.
We've got a lot of stuff. We're going to have winners and losers. We're going to have districts of doom. We're going to have must-see recruit districts. All sorts of stuff going on here. It's always fun. It's always chaotic here.
It's chaotic for the first hour, and then we'll leave here. We'll go get some lunch, and we'll go home or go to our office, and we'll start to absorb it all.
We'll
it takes
digest.
about a week to kind of digest it and really dig into the numbers. I know we're gonna have a lot of written content on TexasFootball.com. You're gonna have a full breakdown on Texas football today, Thursday. We got Tepper and Stepp on Monday, so if you're a subscriber, make sure you tune in to Tepper and Stepp. And if you're not a subscriber, what are you even doing?
We're just getting started here. Thanks to our friends at Hometown Ticketing for helping to make this possible. Thank you, Hometown Ticketing. Really, really appreciate them helping to make the 2026 UIL realignment special possible here from the Birdville Fine Arts and Athletic.
What about our amazing team behind the scenes?
Oh, my gosh, yes, absolutely. Blaine Tatum, Sam Moore, I think it's Viney Moreno?
I don't know.
Sounds right?
Yeah.
She's shaking her head. Mallory Hartley was pitching in. Gavin Moritz on the socials.
Oh, yeah.
Really
killed it
appreciate
behind the scenes.
Everybody.
You don't see them, but we can't do this without them.
Absolutely. That is going to do it for us here at the Birdville Fine Arts and Athletic Complex. Again, thanks to our friends at Hometown Ticketing for sponsoring our realignment coverage. And thanks to Birdville ISD for their hospitality.
Amazing hospitality. Coach Norton and the team at Birdville ISD.
They do a terrific job. We so appreciate you spending your morning with us. TexasFootball.com will have everything you need for the 2026 UIL realignment over the course of the next week. For Vinay Moreno and Matt Stepp, I'm Greg Tepper. We will see you Thursday on Texas Football Today.